The evening began as usual. Me, dinner set on the table, and a message from my husband. Already on my way. Sorry, kitten. Okay, it's time to change something. I frowned and put my phone aside, looking at the screen with displeasure. How tired I am of this. 3 days a week, as scheduled, Matvey is late for dinner. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Last weekend, he went to the country on Sunday. A neighbor called and said that his pipe burst from the frost. So my husband rushed off to check our house. Everything worked out, but I was alone the whole day. If I remember, the week before last, there were also force majeures, and the whole of November on Saturdays, the university took half a day. Matvey was assigned seminars for 2 groups. Although my husband had never worked on weekends before. No, of course, there were times when I substituted for someone, but over the past 2 years, I can remember no more than a dozen such cases. In this academic year, everything changed so dramatically. I would have suspected Matvey of infidelity, but my husband did not give me any reason. He was always gentle with me, caring, and in bed we still have fireworks of feelings. Besides, we have only been married for 3 years. We have not yet had time to get enough of each other. No, I definitely do not have a rival. I involuntarily grimaced, remembering the warnings of my friends about young female students who are ready to do anything for the sake of a credit. But Matvey is not like that. He is principled. My husband always gives the grade that a student deserves. He does not accept money, gifts, and especially nights with female students as payment. Only knowledge. I smiled with pride for my husband and, replacing my anger with mercy, responded to his messages with a playful smiley, a girl in a red Santa suit with the caption, "Waiting." The phone was placed on the table, and I once again looked around the set table and the meat baked with potatoes. Everything no longer looked as appetizing as I would have liked. Our little family tradition was crumbling before our eyes. If it wasn't the other girl, then what? Coincidences? No, I don't believe it. My husband is clearly hiding something, maybe a part-time job. Lately, things haven't been going so smoothly with our money. It seems like we both earn well, but we can't afford anything extra, and we haven't even started saving for a summer vacation yet. I haven't even mentioned a winter one. Matvey has exams, and I'm also at the end of the semester. And, again, there won't be enough money for a good vacation, and we are already too grown up and self-sufficient for budget options. I felt really sad. I wanted to go to Prague for a week so much, to walk the streets of the city, looking at the local sights, to visit cozy cafes with my husband and try world-famous desserts. Hell, I'm even ready to forget about my position at an elite gymnasium and go on a hitchhiking trip with a backpack on my back. Matvey and I are so used to living in suits and acting accordingly that I miss the old ease and student enthusiasm. I'm only 29, but it feels like I'm already 40. The sound of the opening lock tore me out of my travel fantasies. Matvey, how I've missed you! And it seems I'm not the only one. My husband immediately picked me up in his arms and, sitting me on the dresser in the hallway, began to kiss me. Crazy. Dinner is there. Oh, well, to hell with it. I wanted recklessness and adrenaline just a minute ago, so here they are, sign and receive. Intoxicated with passion, I pounced on my husband. Like a wildcat, I tore his shirt open and began to shower his chest with kisses and bites. The corridor was filled with moans, and things fell to the floor, both his and mine. My God, what hands he has, and oh, Matvey. I breathed out raggedly when his lips captured my breasts, and his fingers dropped between my thighs. Now, kitten, now, my little... My husband removed his fingers, replacing them with something completely different. A new moan sounded louder, and I arched forward, accepting my beloved into me. Measured thrusts sometimes gave way to a sharp lunge. Matvey skillfully played with my body, not letting me break loose. "Please," I moaned, asking for release. "Right now, little one, right now." The husband promised and entered even deeper, harder, pressing me tighter to himself. The world exploded with fireworks, and then I helplessly buried my forehead in his shoulder. "Hello," I whispered, laughing. "Well, hello, wife. What are we having for dinner?" Matvey smiled contentedly. He liked how warmly he was greeted from work, and so did I. I felt alive and still young. In a good mood, singing along to the radio, I warmed up the cold dinner. My body was light, my soul was warm and joyful. I wanted to throw all my worries aside and just enjoy each other's company. To sit next to each other, eat and chat about trifles. While my husband was in the bathroom getting himself ready, I quickly lit the candles, opened a bottle of red wine, and turned on some light jazz. It seems that the evening is not spoiled, but quite the opposite. It played with new shades. Soon the new year. If Matvey is hiding something, then it is a surprise for me, I decided, throwing aside all my doubts about my husband and my bad mood. The meat in the oven was almost warmed up. I quickly seasoned the salad with lemon juice and, putting it on the table, examined the result of my labors. Wonderful! This evening will be unforgettable. Someone rang the doorbell. Damn, I think I jinxed it. I cursed out loud and went to greet the uninvited guest. I hoped until the very end that my neighbor had dropped in for salt, but my hopes were dashed in an instant. A fragile blonde in jeans and a light jacket stood on the threshold. A scarf hung around her neck, and the edge of her hat was sticking out of her pocket. She looked no more than 20, and the baby in the carry cot was probably not even 6 months old yet. I frowned. Well, Matvey, how can he not be ashamed? How many times have I asked him not to fail young student mothers on exams? Is it really so pathetic to draw a C? And where's this fool going? At night, with a child, in winter. Hello, is Matvey home? The stranger asked, and my heart sank with a bad feeling. Not Professor Zelentsov, not Matvey Sergeyevich, but just like that, by name, call the teacher. Anya? My husband asked in surprise behind my back, and then I felt him next to me. The aroma of shower gel surrounded me from all sides. What are you doing here? My husband did not hide his surprise. In his voice, I clearly heard discontent and concern. And I didn't misheard. He called her by name. Not by her last name, as he usually calls all the students, and not by her full name when he considers the girl smart and promising, but simply Anya. I'm sorry. What did we do like that? The girl looked down, but then seemed to wake up and began to babble, not giving her husband a chance to get a word in. You've done so much for us, and if it weren't for you, I don't even know what I would do, but I can't do this anymore. Forgive me, Matvey, but I've already decided everything. Vanechka will be better off with you, but I need to get back on my feet. Do you understand? I'm not ready to be a mother. I need to finish my studies, get a profession, and because of my son, I barely passed my exams. And even then, you helped. I will never graduate with honors, and I can't cope. I don't know how to be a mother. The blonde sniffed like a child and wiped away the tears with her palm. My husband was at a loss for words. He just frowned and looked, and I seemed to have forgotten how to breathe, and kept looking at the baby, who was sleeping peacefully. Here. They handed me the cradle, and I, as if under hypnosis, took it. The weight in my hands brought me back to reality. This is not a dream. A young stranger who came to my house at nightfall and calls my husband by name. This innocent baby whose birth mother for some reason gives him to Matvey had a characteristic birthmark near his temple. The father-in-law, laughing, often recalled this mark and calls it a guarantee of the Zelentsovs' quality. After all relatives on the male line have it. You don't need any DNA test, the man bragged, looking at his sons with satisfaction. And now I'm looking at the same birthmark, but not on my husband, but on someone else's baby. Stop lying to yourself, Katya. It's all clear. It's not someone else's. It's Matvey's. The mother brought the child to the father. That's the reason for what's happening. And now they stand and quarrel, as if I'm not there, as if I'm an insignificant detail, a third wheel. Matvey doesn't care about me and my feelings. My husband, and he forgot about me. He's trying to persuade the girl not to abandon their child, promises to help, hire a babysitter. Oh God, kill me already. Just spare me from this scene. Hello, husband. I'm standing here. I'm holding your child from another woman, and you have the audacity to discuss their life in front of me. Now it's clear where the money goes, and where Matvey is late 3 days a week. And I'm a naive, trusting fool who sincerely believed that my husband is not like that. Incapable of betrayal and such baseness. My gaze slid over her beloved features, and in my head there was only one question. Why? Where to? Shouted Matvey when the good-for-nothing mother ran to the stairs. Stop, Anya! Idiot! He barked, grabbing his jacket, threw it right over his bathrobe, and ran after her, in house slippers. He didn't run after me like that. I went into the apartment and closed the door tightly behind me. I wanted to leave the child outside the door, but my hand trembled. He was still so small and not to blame for anything, and it was already winter outside and the floors in the entrance hall were cold, even though they heated it. I put the cradle with the child on the coffee table in the living room. I sat down opposite. The baby suddenly opened his eyes and time stood still. We looked at each other. The boy, Vanya, I think studied my face so carefully and for so long that I involuntarily admired the child. Well, he's so small, but already smart. However, Matvey would hardly have given birth to another, only such a perfect one. Ow! The baby raised his hand demandingly and reached for me. I didn't immediately understand that he was saying give, and what the baby was reaching for, I understood only when I picked him up. The boy immediately grabbed a strand of my hair and laughed joyfully. I didn't understand what I was doing. Why was I picking him up, looking at him, playing with him? Am I a masochist? My hand started shaking, and Vanya arched his back, showing how uncomfortable he was in his overalls. The baby turned out to be unexpectedly strong and heavy, and I almost dropped him from my hands. Only at the last moment I held him, hugging him tightly. The delicate smell of baby powder hit my nose, and tears fell from my eyes. I remembered how I started a conversation with my husband about maternity leave this summer. The time had come to remove the IUD, and I thought we were ready, that there was no longer any need for contraception. I was wrong. Matvey thought differently. You've only been a head teacher for 1 year. What maternity leave, kitten? You wanted to build a career. We have no reason to rush. We're still young. It's just that this year I'm taking over as class teacher, and then I'll have to wait another 4 years until I graduate. I looked at my husband in confusion, hoping that after such an argument he would change his mind, but Matvey smiled contentedly. That's great. 4 years will fly by quickly, and we'll have time to prepare. Pay off the mortgage, close the loan on your car, do some renovations, prepare the nursery. Katya, you can't really travel with kids, and we wanted to travel around Europe. Matvey's words made sense. Moreover, they seemed logical and rational to me, and now, looking at this child, I understood the true reason for the refusal. Matvey would not have been able to handle 2 children at the same time, especially considering that I would go on maternity leave, and my mistress needed to rent an apartment and would not work either. How I wanted to hate this baby, but it did not work. My hands unbuttoned the jumpsuit themselves and pulled the boy out of the stuffy cocoon. The child, feeling free, happily squirmed in my arms and now happily drooled on my sweater, continuing to pull my hair. Strangely, I did not feel irritated and did not even think about my husband. My torture was much more sophisticated. I imagined what our child with Matvey could have become. All I had to do was keep quiet. Take out the IUD and not say anything, or insist on my own, throw a tantrum, but apparently I read too many good books as a child. I thought such behavior was unacceptable, and doing something behind my husband's back was low and mean. But Matvey didn't think so. I sighed heavily and tried to sit the child in the cradle. Enough. He is a stranger and useless to me. The fruit of betrayal. He has his mother and Matvey. Let them take care of him. Not me.